Hey everybody, and welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack and Later Still Lake Jackson, and it's closing in on the holidays. I mean, like Thanksgiving is next week. So this is a nice, quick side. It's amazing. It's usually on a lot of South Texas Gulf Coast and Louisiana Gulf Coast Thanksgiving tables, regular tables during the year. My mom does this, so I'm going to try my hand in it. This is going to be amazing if it turns out good. It's going to be great, so stick with me. I wouldn't post it if it wasn't good and it didn't work out, so spoilers. So before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube-y stuff, ring the little bell in that corner over there to get notifications when we upload these on Tuesdays and Fridays, or as close as we can to those. And also there's a link down the doobly-doo for our merch, spoons, spatulas, all that kind of stuff. I'm not wearing mine mostly just because it's cold and I'm trying to stay warm, and I'm just getting over being sick. So that's the thing. Let's just get into the food. Yeah. Alright, the toughest thing here is going to be finding your crawfish tails. Now, I like to use the ones left over from crawfish boils if you ever have leftover stuff. So it's a little harder to find these. I did get these at half price because I was able to get a coupon from one of our locals here. So that's going to be your biggest investment. The rest of this is super cheap, but you're going to need some crawfish tails, about a pound of that. You're going to need a container of these fried onions. Now, I use the crispy onions, the salad topper ones, because you can get them in like spicy garlic stuff. 2 cans of the French-style green beans, or Freedom-style green beans, if you lived through that era. You're going to need 2 of those, and then 1 can of the cream of mushroom. Now, mine had leftover pralines on top of it. Apologize. Just a cream of mushroom soup, just the condensed stuff to one side. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder, and then I'm going to use some Old Bay seasoning and some Slap Your Mama, like Cajun seasoning stuff for my crawfish tails, because I'm using them out of a bag. If they've been boiled and seasoned, you're fine. You want 1 onion and 2 tablespoons of butter, and because it's Texas, I'm going to add 1 jalapeno because I like it spicy, mostly because I'm sick and I want to burn all my sinuses out right now. So yeah, get you about a cup and a half of water and bring that to a boil. Over here you can crank it all the way up if you need to get that warm. I'm going to go ahead and season the water, but basically this is if you haven't if you got your crawfish tails from crawfish boil and they're left over, they're already seasoned, you can skip this part. You just want to make sure they're thawed. But if you're getting them fresh out of the bag, same as here, you're going to want to season them. So I'm put just as much of the Slappy Mama stuff, which is a little spicier, and the Old Bay is just a regular seasoning. Put it in there, let that come to a boil. Okay, while we're waiting on that to boil and staring at it, we're going to take a nice sharp knife, get our onion, cut both the ends of it off here, and then skin it. I like to imagine that it's screaming as I'm peeling off the skin because I'm weird that way. That's not true. I'm just trying to get views. So yeah, so peel all that off. You can get rid of it unless you're trying to make paper later or whatever you're going to do with onion skin. I've never really found, I think my mom uses it for like lesions and stuff, like old witchy type medicine, but just throw that away. Now you're going to want to cut your onion down to as many small pieces as possible, even the parts that stick to your finger. So what I like to do is instead of just cut it that way, I'm going to grab it by the big end, cut it 2 or 3 times here, and then we're going to go across the top in a grid. I guess that's considered dicing, mincing, or whatever. I have to shout out to my square. Mary, she'll let me know exactly what that is. You know, lay it all down, cut it one way. Now, onion's already segmented, so this is going to break it down pretty good. You're still going to have some long, papery leaves that get caught in there, so when you're cooking those later, be sure to pull those out. Turn it again, cut it down this way, break it down. Again, you're going to need a nice sharp knife here. You don't want a serrated one. Yeah, I saw that piece of onion jump into the crawfish boil too. That's neat. So while it's going ahead and boiling, go ahead and drop your crawfish tails in there and let it come back to a boil. Once it's boiling, you want to give it a couple of minutes, but get you a wooden spoon, because if you don't, the ancestors will come and get you because you're not using a wooden spoon. So make sure it's all nice down in there and let it come to a boil again, okay? Just rest your wooden spoon on top. It won't boil over. There's not enough liquid there. Now, if you're going to add the jalapeno, which I am, again, it's very, very optional. It is completely up to you, but I like to split it and take out the seeds and veins from the inside, mostly because that's where a lot of your capsaicin sits, and a lot of that bitter flavor sits in there too. So take these, I just give them one nice, quick cut across, I guess the skinny part instead of the lengthways, to kind of cut these down. But we're going to go ahead and saute these with our onions, the same as, again, optional. Do not have to add it. If you're not into the spicy stuff, that's completely up to you. Your butter, you're only going to need 2 tablespoons. Remember, the paper always shows you, like every butter that I've ever got showed you. So just get 2 tablespoons, get you a nice sharp knife, cut it. Whoop. Now, if you make sure it's clean, because if not, you just rubbed jalapeno all over the rest of your butter. I don't mind, but if you're going to use it for pancakes, people tend to get upset. So skin your butter, put it in another skillet, and let that melt. We're going to put it on about medium high, let that start breaking down. Now, your tails are starting to boil. See? You're going to leave them in there for 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how fresh they are, if they're still frozen. And then once it's done there, just turn the heat off, okay? Get that done there. Your butter's nice and melted. So let's just go ahead and throw our onion and jalapeno in here. Now we're going to cook that until it starts to wilt, till your onion is going see-through is what you want to look for, okay? I like to do this step by step so you know exactly what we're doing when we're cutting down through it. Again, wooden spoon, go in here and your onion, because it is still segmented, it'll start to come apart. Be sure you just use your spoon to kind of smack it a little bit so it comes apart. This is where I add my garlic powder. Again, it's just to your taste. I just kind of keep it in there until the ancestors come out and say that's enough, and then I stop. So I'd like to use minced garlic in this, but I just didn't have any at the time. That's right at the top left corner. I didn't see it there, so I used the powder. So once it starts to mince there, you want to put it in there. You want to preheat your oven at 350 while you're sitting here, because we're getting to the last step here. We're going to start mixing everything and put it in our casserole dish here. Again, it's said for an 8x8. I don't think this is 8x8. I think this is 6x6, but I'm horrible at guesstimating measurements, so I'm going to get out my like 9x6 or whatever the hell that thing is. Get you a slotted spoon is the easiest way to do it. Once your onions and stuff start going see-through, go ahead and start adding everything else. You want to add a little bit of your crawfish water that you seasoned here. I'm going to use 1/3, so I get my 2/3 cup and just use half of it because I couldn't find my 1/3 cup. Just go ahead and add that in there as well. That's optional as well. It's just, I like it spreads a lot more of the seasoning and everywhere else. Go ahead and add all your crawfish tails, add your green beans, both cans. I drain mine. Somebody told me they don't, and I can imagine the wet mess that causes. If you get clogged up in there, just reach out with your hand or a fork or something. That they're all relatively already cooked because they've been steamed into those cans. Give it a nice start. Slow stir is what I was trying to say. And go ahead and add your soup, which looks absolutely horrific. It's just a staple. It's how you do it. Just break it down. Slow stir, mostly because my skillet is really small, so I can't be doing big over the top. So we're just doing what they call folding it in, where I'm grabbing it from the edges and kind of folding it in towards the middle. Make sure to get all the edges. Don't skip the middle, or everybody start coming out of their skin because you missed a part. Get it nice and stirred, and then you want to do half of your packet of the fried green, not green beans, the fried onions. The other half you want to use for the topping later. But you're going to put this in here and then mix it in. It gets all squishy and crunchy. It is the weirdest texture ever. Again, this is one of those foods that you put down that doesn't look great while you're doing it, but it tastes great later. Now, if you want to add more seasonings, more of your Slap Your Mama or your Cajun seasoning, this is the time to do it. Go ahead and get that in there. Again, slowly fold it in here. It can take a little while, especially if you have a small skillet or you're using a different bowl to do so. Once it gets nice and I wasn't paying attention to my camera as I was adding it to my casserole dish, which you should know what that looks like. But now you know what my oven looks like as it slowly looks down. Yeah, sorry about that. So just put it in your casserole dish, fold it edge to edge, and then put it in. You want to put it in for 15 minutes at 350, okay? At 350, okay? 15 minutes, and then we're going to cover it with the stuff later. Now, you put this in, 15 minutes later, ta-da, after I got a jar of tea. Now, most people, this is good to go. You take it, and this is where I use my crispy onions, and then usually the jalapeno ones that I just can't find anymore. And I put these on top, and then you're good to go. Now, I do like putting them in for another 5 minutes with the crispies on top. Just a little more cooking, and warms the whole thing up. But it's absolutely up to you. This can be good, or another 5 minutes at 350 with the stuff on top. Done. This is, like I said, an amazing side. Most everybody knows it. It's all over the place. But this one my mom's been doing with the crawfish tails, and I have no idea where she got the idea, but I tried my hand at it, and it worked out really, really well. This is a meal by itself to me. The crawfish just adds so much to the green bean casserole. Green bean casserole, one of those few vegetable, quote-unquote, casserole things. Shout out to my friend Hot Mess, who will laugh at me because I kept saying casserole because it just fit in a casserole dish. But yeah, the crawfish adds to it and just makes it a meal in and of itself. You got to try this if you can get your hands on the crawfish tails. Now, you can find them at most stores for relatively under our budget. Again, that's your big investment here. I got mine for right at $6. Everything else was kind of, almost had to go to the dollar store to get a bunch of these. But it'll work. If you don't want the crawfish, you can just leave that part out and just do the green bean casserole. We did one of those on our Thanksgiving episode. I'm pretty sure Jack can put a link to that down here. But yeah, if you do it differently, man, let me know. This holds up pretty well. I got the casserole dish that comes with a lid, so hopefully this will hold up for a couple of days until I get to a meal. If not, I'm just going to keep eating it because That's what I do. But yeah, gotta give this one a shout out. Gotta give this one a try. Let me know if you try it or if it's horrible, if I should never do it again. Well, there you have it, folks. Crawfish green bean casserole. You got to try this. You can just use it as a meal. We usually have it as a side, especially at Thanksgiving. Adding the crawfish is a way to beef up the green bean casserole, spice it up, taste it a little different, and then say you learned something from somebody from Texas that got a lot of influence from Louisiana. If you do it differently, you want to see us do it differently, let me know. Put it down in the comments. Let me know. That's what the comments are there for. And I'll revisit this, try it again. We got Christmas coming up, New Year's, and then my birthday after that. So it's always kind of a reason for cooking some kind of side dish or full dish, whatever. Let me know. I'll revisit it. We got to get into it. So you can find me on social media. You can put it on Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon. We're at all those at Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. You can also find us on Instagram at Live Between. I had to shorten it down over there. You can find me, Osway Nerdy, on all those, including Twitter. I'm not calling it X. And mostly I'm just looking at action figure stuff over there. And over on TikTok, where we've been doing just some little fun stuff over there, mostly reviewing action figures and stuff. So, yeah, mostly nerd stuff. Food stuff's on YouTube. I will see y'all next time. Y'all be good. And hopefully I have some more out before Thanksgiving.